Welcome. I am Dr. Angelika Christie, your host of the show, Your Radiant Life After 45, Skills for Healthy, Happy, and Prosperous Women. I believe in a world where women are cherished and thrive because the world needs your light. I help you discover and live your unique gift confidently and with pride. With over 25 years of professional experience as a naturopathic doctor specializing in healthy aging, and as a lifestyle and relationship coach, together with my vast personal life experience, I share my heart and my knowledge. If this sounds good to you, be my guest here every week on this day of the week, at this time of the day. It's 3 o'clock Eastern time. Yes? Yes. So let's begin. In the previous episode, I shared with you the first 3 steps to success and happiness in your life. I call it kick-ass happiness. And it's really a blueprint for outrageous success in your relationships. You may think that what does success in life have to do with relationships? I get this question quite a bit. And my answer is that everything in life is about a relationship. And the most important relationship in your life is the one, what do you think, which one that is? Yes, it's the one you have with you, with yourself. Why? Because you cannot leave you. Well, until your body dies, that is, then your soul leaves your body and you actually leave you. But up to that moment, you are with you, which means you better not only develop, but live the most beautiful relationship with yourself. Do you agree? Because I mean, the reality is you can leave another person, right? A friend, a family member, a husband, a partner, but you cannot leave yourself. Therefore, would you agree that your relationship with you tremendously influences how happy or how miserable you are in your life? Yes? Do you agree with me there? I hope so. Okay, you see, it is all about you. Nobody is to blame or to praise for what you create in your life. Some people are told what to do, and then they do that, and they never experience the thrill of maybe living outside of the box, living their best and most authentic life, because they're afraid of judgment, they're afraid of failure, or maybe not being liked or not liked enough, or maybe not fitting in. But I hope this is not you. I don't believe it's you, because you are here now and you are interested in living your best life. Yes? Okay. And you know what that means, living your best life, yeah, right? It means stepping out of your comfort zone and daring to discover all of who you are. Not just a little bit, not just the part that you believe are likable, all of you, right? So therefore, the steps that I have already started in the last episodes, the 7 steps to outrageous success and happiness in your life, are really the blueprint. And today, we have the step that's called courage. Courage. It's the 4th step. We discussed 3 steps in the previous episode. And if you have not listened to them yet, then please go back and listen to them as well. You don't have to stop, because they are independent, but they belong together. There are 7 steps, and we discovered and we covered step 1, 2, and 3 in the previous episode. And today we are going into the fourth and the fifth step. So the fourth is about courage. Yes, it takes courage to live at your highest level, at the highest level of your ability. It takes courage to live your life according to you without falling into the trap of conforming to anybody's expectations. In other words, it takes courage to be unapologetically yourself and dance to your own music, dance to your own tunes, be your beautiful, unique, original self. For example, when it comes to courage, it takes courage to step out of your comfort zone and risk something new. Yes? Why is that? Because we are creatures of habits, and we are also creatures of comfort. Yes, comfort. We will naturally choose what feels comfortable and safe. There are some exceptions, of course. There are always exceptions. There are some daredevils who would find comfort and safety so dull that they would instead choose real excitement, maybe even dare a little bit too much. The thrill, the life-threatening acts to feel fully alive. But that's actually a smaller group of us, a smaller group of people. When we are young, sometimes we go through a passage or through a part of our life where we just feel like that. And we do incredible things that afterwards we say, oh my God, was I lucky or what that all of this went through without dire consequences? Yes. But there can be many reasons why somebody chooses that kind of life. It could have internal reasons. Some feel they always have to prove something. Even though it looks very courageous, the courageous act may be triggered by insecurity and the need to show up as a hero. For others, it's that they never seem to be enough. So what looks like courage is not always the courage that you believe it is. Courage is a factor that separates those who want to keep the status quo from those who dare to explore what's actually possible. Most people feel comfortable with what they have experienced for some considerable time because that creates the comfort zone, right? And so they got to feel accustomed to and comfortable with it. So they don't want to change anything. And there is no judgment with that. There is no judgment with that. And sometimes we have periods in our life where we just want to sit back and feel comfortable and don't feel that we actually have to do anything in particular. I went through such a period of time after I was ill with COVID. And then after COVID contracted or it got what COVID triggered the shingles. And then I had a mini stroke, a TIA. So I had some rough time. And after that, I really didn't feel that didn't feel like being too outrageously courageous in anything. I just wanted to relax and be quiet for a while. But enough of me. Suppose you want to evolve, move forward, maybe even push the envelope and expand your capability and capacity to experience something new. In that case, you are called to find the courage that's necessary to honor and live your inner, unlimited, magnificent, and naturally courageous self. Yes, I said naturally courageous, because courage naturally lives within you. It's already part of you. Yes, you may raise your eyebrows and said, well, I have some bad experiences here. And I get that. Just this last sentence, may trigger a little bit resistance because your brain brings up instances from the past that seem to prove the opposite. And it does that automatically and with lightning speed. Alarm bells ring in your head. Not really, but it just, something shifts there and you shriek back. You hesitate, and then stress hormones rush in. So you stay with what your mind tells you is safe. I think we have lost many of our original explorers and courageous minds because of the modern world with the comforts we live in now. Our modern world has all these incredible comforts that can make us pretty lazy, right? I mean, we have shelter. We don't have to hunt for food. Just walk or drive to the food store. We don't have to risk our lives. Really, we are not really chasing wild animals, so we are not chased by them either. Or dangerous animals don't chase us anymore, like when we lived more or less in tribes in the wild. Our neighbors are not out to kill us like the neighboring tribes long, thousands and hundreds of thousands of years ago. Well, don't let me think about all of the shooting events and all of that. I don't want to go into that, but we can really live in a very civilized and safe environment. We have created our lives with the maximum comfort and safety possible. Yes? The downside is that we have also created a bondage, a certain, we are bound, or we feel that we need to have that kind of safety, that kind of lifestyle, that kind of comfort. And then the next step that really hinders us to have that outrageous explorer's mindset is we amass stuff that we can buy and really don't need. And then, yes, we feel the burden of protecting it. You may not feel it as a burden, but subconsciously, the more you have, the more you feel that you have to protect. Isn't that so? Then we are afraid we may lose it, right? All of the stuff that we have. And that becomes a stressor. Do you know people who have amassed so much wealth in things, in stuff, that they are admired, like almost as if they have arrived somewhere? It seems like they have it all. But do they? You can have a lot and be very unhappy and also very bored. Most become more agitated, more irritated and unhappier. Why? Because they now have to protect their possessions. They take care of it all and live in this angst, this worry and the anxiety of what can happen to it. Oh my God, I can't lose this. In contrast, can you envision somebody who lives according to their talents and takes the opportunity as they present themselves? It's a choice, yes? It takes some flexibility and the will to change, to pivot whenever necessary, to change the changes that come along and that you have to involve yourself with. That calls for courage, wouldn't you say so? The courage to change the status quo, to change something you have become accustomed to, something you feel comfortable with. Creating conscious change takes courage. Let me say that again. Creating conscious change takes courage. It's not the change that comes along because you don't feel you have a choice and you feel you are forced into it. I'm talking about creating conscious choice takes courage. Even for the one who has it all and decides maybe to even walk away, to let it all go. They too need the courage to say, I don't want this anymore. I walk away from it all. I'll give it away. I give it all up. That takes courage too. We all go through change because of outside circumstance. Nothing ever stands still, even though this subconscious mind that always wants to, or this primitive, this primal instinct, not to change much or to change as little as possible, to keep holding steady to the status quo because you are alive, and your subconscious mind or your primal instinct is really only really cares about that. Are you alive? It's not, are you happy, but are you alive? And when you're alive, that safety is really number one. Yes, but that's not enough for us anymore, right? We all go through changes because of outside circumstance. For example, you could lose your home for all kinds of reasons. We just had a horrific hurricane pass through, Hurricane Ian. A lot of people lost their lives, lost their homes, lost their possessions. You know, financial disasters can happen. Tornadoes, floods, divorce, or death. All of that can happen. One moment. I need to wet my throat. So at any moment, your life can change drastically and quickly. It would help if you had the clarity and the courage to decide what to do next. For that, you need clarity first. We talked about this a couple of times in other episodes, that there are 3 critical steps that are part of all of my teachings. The first one is clarity. Clarity, clarity, clarity. If you don't have clarity, you cannot really make good decisions, and you may drift, and somebody else may make the decisions for you. And the second one is courage. You do need courage. And so right now, we are talking about that courage. The courage to decide what to do next and then do it. And it plays a little bit into the previous theme of realizing your choices, because choice is a very powerful and important step as well. We talked about this in the previous episode. Yes, you need to know what choices you have. Lamenting and negativity are totally, don't make any sense. They're futile. Yet many complain and lament, saying, oh my God, it's all gone, poor me. What am I going to do now? I'm stuck, all of this. Yet realize that every disaster that looks like a disaster, and some are real disasters, and every unfortunate situation carries a gift. Yes, it carries a gift, and it's on the other side of that coin. One side disaster, the other side is the gift. What is the gift, you may ask? Let me tell you. It can be anything, but it always is an opportunity to experience something new, something that was impossible or not in your awareness before. Yes? Then think about that. Let me repeat that, because I think it's really, really profound. It's powerful. One side disaster, the other the gift. The gift is always an opportunity to experience something new, something that you either didn't see before or wasn't possible before. As an example would be if you lose your home and your house. Maybe you now have the opportunity to move somewhere where you would have loved to live before, but you were bound by having this house in this place that you thought you can't really move anywhere else because you have your house in that particular place. House gone, now you have the freedom to move. And there are all kinds of other situations that come up when one situation changes and it opens up a door to something else. It would help if you dare to live your life with joy and purpose. Be unapologetically yourself and dance to your own music. Yes, dancing to your own music. I love that so much. I know it's a little bit vanilla because you have probably heard it a million times, but it's just the thought of it. Just imagine the freedom of maybe dance outside on the beach, just the freedom to move in the way that your body wants to move you, where when nobody's watching, dance to your own music, be totally yourself, be unapologetically and outrageously yourself. Yes. So it would be probably good to ask you a couple of questions. And if you want to write them down, you can do that, or you can just stop the recording and go back if you watch the replay. But if you're live, then you have to wait for the replay or write it down. Okay, here are the questions that maybe you want to ask yourself. The first one is, where am I in your life? So when I asked you, I would ask you, where are you in your life right now? Where do you need the courage to move forward? Where do you need to step out of your comfort zone? What do you really want to experience? So many of my clients say, why, if I would really have clarity about that. There are so many things, but I'm not really clear about that. So you need the clarity. So what do you really want to experience? What is important to you? Yes, because we all have things that are important to us. They are attached to our core values, and sometimes they shift. I think I talked about this in the last episode, that our core values are not always the same. Some stay the same, but others shift. And so you would have to re-examine at certain times to find out if your core values are still in that same sequence, or in the same, how powerful are they? Have they shifted? Have they changed? Something dropped off, or something more came into it? You have to ask yourself those questions, and you have to become still and explore, go within and find those answers. And again, we cannot easily free ourselves from our self-imposed prison that we tell ourselves we want to escape. Very often we just are stuck in those old beliefs and old stories. Over time, we even become comfortable living there in those old stories, in those self-imposed prisons that we built, in those walls we built around us, so that we feel trapped, but then it feels familiar, right? It feels comfortable. Then we feel that something is churning in our stomach, in our heart, and we know that we need help. We need help from somebody who is not attached to our past, not attached to the situations or our story. So that's why usually, it's not 100%, but usually you don't find the person that can really support you and help you in your own family easily, nor with your close friends easily. Why? They are too afraid for you. They are worried that your courage can hurt you. They don't want you to risk anything. They don't want you to dare to be at risk. They want you to stay what they believe is safe. So they will keep you rather in your status quo than encourage you to take risk. And they do this out of fear for you. Well, some do it for their own interest because they don't want you to change because they love you just the way you are. Maybe it benefits them in some way, but it may stifle you. And you don't want to be stuck there. Am I right? So here again, I am very sure that it takes outside help. I am a coach for a long time, and I have my own coaches. Sometimes I take a break, but then, we all have blind spots. We all need help. We all need an unbiased person who is more advanced, more experienced in a certain part of area that we are struggling with. And why not take their experience, their life and their professional experience and run some stuff by them so that that we can make a jump, maybe a quantum jump into a better situation. Yeah. Mentors and coaches come in because they are unbiased and see what you cannot see. That's why I have mentors and coaches. They see what you cannot see because you have blind spots. You and I, we all have blind spots when it comes to our own self, our own stories. But they encourage and support you to gain more courage until you break free from what has imprisoned you and held you hostage in your status quo for so long. Many women in my community where I live in the Bahamas feel that way because we live in a community that's a little bit male-oriented and very dogmatic. The churches have very strong influences. So many live in this a little confined space, I would say. I don't want to say prison cell, but in a confined space. And sometimes I feel that is so unfortunate. And breaking out of that is sometimes against their husband's beliefs or the church's beliefs or whatever. But I believe in the woman that is free to choose, that is free to be herself, a woman who is not only recognized and cherished, but celebrated. All of the incredible abilities that women have and that have been suppressed for so long. Yes, suppressed for so long. They're all slowly coming out. You see what's happening in the countries where, a lot of restrictions were and are still on females. There is some push against it all. Okay, so it takes courage, wouldn't you say? In my community, because I am not Bahamian, I come from Germany. So many women in my community here in the Bahamas where I live, they told me that they wish they had my life, that I am so lucky to be married to such a handsome, prominent, and wealthy man. They believe that I was so fortunate and therefore must be so very happy. And let me tell you, there was a time when I was not all that happy at all. I actually left my husband, but this is already 12 years ago. I mean, we remarried. We were divorced and remarried 12 years ago, but there was a time when I was not happy at all. Even though my life looked perfect on the outside. I was the perfect wife and a good mother. But after my children left a home, so the nest was empty, so to speak, this is always a difficult time for any mother. And it often falls into the time frame of premenopause around that time. Anyway, I lived the life of the perfect mother and the perfect wife, and I did it well. So I should have been happy, right? But back then I was not. I felt trapped in a life that wasn't mine. I lived a life according to my husband. I conformed to what was expected of me and forgot my own dreams and aspirations to excel in my own business, in my own desires. Yes, I had businesses. I had a children's store. I had a health and healing center, but they were always considered my hobby, never really as a real business. So I will never forget that moment after dinner and a glass of red wine. I had gathered enough courage to tell my husband what I wanted to do for years, but was always pushed away. I pushed it away for later because I was afraid. But that evening, I said, sweetheart, I said, I have decided to become a public speaker on international stages. Firstly, he looked at me with eyes that reflected surprise and a little bit of confusion. Then he stood up, and his body seemed to grow taller when he put his demeanor of a high judge court on. Actually, my husband is an attorney, so you know that high judge, that high court judge is very close to this. And I never forget the way he asked me, "What do you want, Angelika?" He only calls me by my name, Angelika, when he plays the judge. Otherwise, he would call me sweetheart or honey. But he said, Angelika, what do you want, Angelika? What is it with you? You have everything you need, he said. Why can't you be like the wives of my partners, his partners in the law firm? They support their husbands. They only support their husbands. They don't go after their own desires. My stomach started to churn. I wanted to protest out loud. I am not like any wife of your partner or anybody else for that reason, for that purpose. I am me. But I bit my tongue for the moment. I have flashes of memories hearing people address me as Mrs. and then my husband's first and last name. So I would be Mrs. Brentford Christie. But I am Angelika. I am Angelika von Canal, which is my maiden name. So I am Angelika Christie. That's who I am. So I feel my tears, my eyes tearing up and my face flushing, not in shame, but in this pressure, this anger was coming up. I wanted to be free. And I felt, yeah, I am free. But I feel like I'm in a glass house without doors. I see the life that I desire happen on the outside, yet I'm trapped inside. Do I need to be free to discover who I am? Yes, I need to find myself or find myself again. So I felt my heart racing as if it wanted to jump out of my chest. I'm holding my breath. And then I hear the words I will never forget. It started with my husband saying, be realistic, Angelika. You will never make it out there. Here, you have my protection. At least you can be certain that you will not be threatened by anything, and you will have a comfortable death. A comfortable death? I was so stunned. I mean, I'm smiling now, but I remember then I was horrified. But then I also felt that it was almost like a tragic comedy that just has ended. I became very still and felt almost numb. And I tried to hold back my tears. I felt that surge in me like a phoenix out of the ashes. I grew, and I grew more and more powerful, growing wings, like enormous wings, like Pegasus. I knew that something shifted in me, that I would never be the same. It gave me the courage to step fully into myself. Looking back, but then again, but my husband also says, I am a little bit of a rebel. I am a rebel by heart. In whatever I have done in my life was a little bit different from what other people do. So I am known to break rules, but in a good way. Forward-thinking rules. I break rules for justice. I break rules for love. I break rules to be true to myself. Isn't that good enough? Yes. So looking back, I intuitively knew that evening when I had that conversation and went through all of that, something changed in me, something happened in me. And I knew that the last curtain of fear fell. It just like dropped down. I was not afraid anymore to ask for what I wanted, to ask for what I needed, to step into who I was and who I was becoming, who I wanted to become. And it was a lesson for my husband too. It rang in a period of many changes. And I'm glad for it, because that disaster that felt like a disaster actually turned into a gift. Today, we are still a couple and love and respect each other more, even more than we did before. You see, it took courage to voice my desire. It will take courage to express yours. Maybe not in that way that I did it or had to do it, or that was appropriate at that time for me. But there are many areas in your life where you need that courage, and you just have to step into it. It took courage for me to stand firm in that response to being ridiculed by my husband first. Don't be serious, Angelika, don't be serious. It's dangerous out there in the world. You know, you will never make it. How demeaning is that? That's how it felt to me. You may be ridiculed or denied, or still, and still stand firm in your resolve. It doesn't matter. You stand, your commitment is to yourself. It took courage to share my vulnerability. It takes courage to share my vulnerability with my clients. It takes courage to share it with you right now. But we all have our, as I say, our holy and our broken inner hallelujahs. And what that means is the courage to embrace all of you, the courage to embrace all of me, my good, my bad, my ugly, all of it. So you embrace all of you, your magnificence, your good, your bad, your ugly, all of it. It's all you, and nothing is bad. Nothing is bad unless you believe it is. I know I spent a lot of time on step 4 of those 4 steps to outrageous success and happiness here, but I believe this step is crucial because it is so misunderstood. Yes, you get it? Okay, good, good, good. So we still have some time here. Let's now move to step number 5. Step number 5 of the 7th step to outrageous success in your life is all about creativity. Did you know that you create? Some people say, oh, I'm not creative. That's a joke, because you create every moment of your life. Every moment you create, whether you realize it or not. It is a fact that every thought and every feeling creates an actual frequency. It creates a frequency that is either in alignment with your thought or feelings or not. And it creates a certain reality. You create in that way a whole matrix that can be almost like a vessel to collect the parts that bring it to life, a whole vision. That is how you manifest consciously as well as you do it unconsciously. You're on this imaginative trip whenever you allow your imagination to flow freely, whether you daydream or unconsciously, even in your sleep. Do you experience this sometimes, that your dream becomes more lucid and that you can control some things even in your dream, like knowing that you are dreaming, like knowing that when something really dangerous happens, that it's not really that you're dreaming and that you're not going to die? I have, and I remember that I can make myself wake up when the situation becomes too stressful. Some people remember everything when they wake up, their entire dream. I, most of the time, don't. But certain things, very intensive dreams, I do. Isn't it fascinating how your internal, natural creativity can take you into places you have never consciously visited and interacted with people you have, and you interact in those new places with people you have never met before? Does that happen to you in your dreams? It happens in mine. Sometimes you can even fly. Yes? Did that happen to you? Isn't that awesome when that happens? That's always, for me, it doesn't happen so often anymore. It used to happen more when I was younger. But it's an incredible experience that gives me clues about where maybe I hold on too tightly in my life. Maybe I hold on too tightly since I haven't really dreamt about flying a lot lately. But anyway, your dreams is where your imagination is free to create, right? Your imagination and creativity are truly boundless. You can create a whole work for yourself by imagining it, and then allow the creative energy, which is something that we all have, and to even a more significant degree, when we admire the way we admire it in artists who start with, let's say, well, a painter starts with a blank canvas, right? There's nothing on it. Or a sculptor starts with a block or a stone of marble or clay. And the artist allows his or her imagination to flow freely. which creates the most exquisite piece of art. And you do that too. We always think creativity must be in writing or in acting or in painting or in sculpting. No, it happens every moment within yourself, every moment. So you are the artist of your own life. Yet, if you do not know this or do not believe this, you will never actually create the unique and extraordinary vision that can lead to manifest the remarkable life that you were born to experience. Because the bigger your dream, the more vividly you can imagine it and infuse it intensely with your senses. Yes, because when you want a big dream, you automatically activate or ignite that creativity. If you don't want a big dream, it may be just routine and you just go along like you have done every day. But if you want a big dream, you need a vivid imagination and include your senses into it. All 5 senses: smell it, hear it, taste it, touch it. Your sense of sight and inner vision, your sense of smell, your sense of touch and taste, even if it has not been manifested yet, your senses can be so powerful and they impact your ability to have what you want in life. Creativity is just a word, and we often see it with a kind of limited imagination, like it doesn't really belong to us, it belongs to others. The truth is that your ability to create is a divine gift. You have it. And that divine gift comes from the divine. It comes from God. Yes, it is a godlike power you possess. Should you believe, even though I don't talk about religions here, but should you believe in the Christian dogma, remember what Jesus Christ said. What I do, you can also do. But do you believe that? Can you embrace that truth? And if so, what do you do with this most precious gift from God, your powerful creativity and your ability to manifest? It starts with your imagination first. You are a child of the divine. You are a child of the universe with endless potential and endless creativity. Make that part of your life. Incorporate it more significantly, and you will be astonished. Yes, surprise yourself with your ability to create your vision, to create your future. Why? Because you can. Your future has not been created yet, and it is you who creates your future. So are you ready to design your future in the most amazing, in the most unique way, your way? Because you are only limited by your disbelief or your limiting beliefs and the influence of others, society, culture, your family, your friends, your story. You are permitted to set the rules for your life yourself. What about that? Take that. You have permission. That is your right. Set your own rules. Set your own rules for your life. It is time to break all rules. I am the rule breaker. You want some help with that? Get in touch with me and I will support you with that. It is time to break all rules and untangle restrictions that prevent you from dreaming big and acting big and taking the steps that take you to that end result. Can you imagine how you would feel when you live your greatest joy? because you live the life your heart and soul have already prepared for you to experience. You can. It's all waiting for you. So do it. Yes, do it. How do you do that? You may say, oh, this is the theme and content of the next episode, actually, of the most crucial step, which is step number 6, that ensures you prosper on purpose and live your kick-ass happiness life. I know whenever I say kick-ass happiness, some people say, but Angelika, you know, you are so sophisticated and elegant. Kick-ass, really? How can you say that? What is wrong with kick-ass? You know, I found that at a certain time in my life, I needed to actually do this for myself. I needed to kick my own laziness, fear, resistance. I think resistance is the word. You know, resistance is the most, it's more powerful even than fear, because we don't realize how sneaky it is. We resist something we resist doing something by finding all kinds of things that come in the way, cleaning up your desk or doing this. We get busy, and in reality, you are resisting what you know you want to do, you must do, in order to become who you want to become, in order to have the experiences that you desire, in order to live the life that is there waiting for you. But you have to take those inspired actions, make the choices, and so that you get to that point. And we all need help with that, right? And this is something that I see in all of my clients, and it sneaks up in myself as well, that that resistance. And actually, there is a book that really made me aware of it. Hold on one second. I have it. I have it here somewhere. The book is called The Art of War. The Art of War. Oh, what is, I don't want to move away from here to look for the book, but it is The Art of War. My apologies. I should not turn my back to you. But when you look for it, you may be able to Google it. I'll Google it. The Art of War. Art of War. And it's all about how resistance really messes up our life, because it is so sneaky. And we find all kinds of reasons to resist something. We believe it's fear. We give it all kinds of names. But it is, we resist it. And we're not aware of it. So, the next episode is going to be about something that is paramount for all of these steps, because we have only gone through 5 steps now. The first one was clarity. The second was courage, then choice. And this one was, what was this one again? But anyway, this one. And then the number 6, which will be the next episode, is going to be about the one thing that you must have in order for anything to really work. And that starts with the C as well, because as I said, there are 7 C's. And that is commitment. Yes, commitment. Commitment. Not, yeah, I'm kind of committed, or I am almost committed, or I am committed in a kind of keeping a little back door open. It needs 100% commitment. It needs a powerful commitment. It needs no matter what commitment. 100% commitment is the only way to really give you the ability, the power, the juice to go back to what you must do when things interfere, because life always interferes. You may get sick. Something happens in your life that derails you from where you may need to take a detour. You may need to take a break. Whatever it is, in the end, your resilience also, but your commitment to what you want to achieve, or your commitment to your own life, will take you where you want to go. Okay? We most often think about commitments that are outside of ourselves. But have you not been taught a commitment to behave and listen to your parents and teachers? Have you not been asked to commit to studying hard and getting good grades so that you can apply for higher education, have a better life chance, or have a better chance in your life? Were you not asked to commit to a relationship and behave a certain way? Yes or yes? It goes without saying that within your family and community, commitments were asked of you. You made commitments even though nothing was ever guaranteed. Am I right? One of the biggest commitments is really that of being a mother. It is the commitment to care for your child and bring it up the best way you can until it becomes an adult and leaves you, like my 5 children. Oh, yes, I know some of you continue the commitment even when they go way into their adolescence, become adults and have their own children. You feel you still need to be committed to be a parent. And yes, you will always be their mother, but things shift, right? They are now responsible for their own life, and you should not interfere. It becomes a false responsibility that may start codependency when it carries into adulthood. You feeling that they still need you, your children still need you. It's not good, but that is another theme for another teaching. But let me ask you this. Can you count all the commitments you made in the past? And are they still adding, and are you still maybe adding some that bind you? Bind you, what I mean by that is bind you to something outside of yourself. Because there comes a time in your life when you find yourself at a crossroad and realize that it is time for you to take a different path. You may realize that the time has come to commit to yourself first, to make yourself number 1 in your life. Have you asked yourself, what is my life all about? You see your whole life story and realize that many outside commitments have become less important now. Like, caring for your children the way you did when they were smaller or little. You will know when that time arrives because you feel an enormous void almost within you that needs to be filled by you, and that no outside business that you put yourself in can fill anymore. If you dial down that loud voice of your mind, you hear the softer voice of your soul self beckoning you to turn within and discover your true being, which of course lives inside of you. It's your invitation to understand yourself, not only from your mind, but also from your heart, where your true purpose really lives, and it wells up in your heart whenever something gets triggered that is in alignment with that true purpose. And it wells up in moments of total clarity. How often have you disregarded this clarity, or coming like an epiphany? All of a sudden you have this light go off, or you just know something intuitively. And if you don't write it down or catch it, then it very often subsides because it comes and it goes. If you disregard your sudden clarity and insights, they do not go away totally, but they create a pressure. They will move from your conscious mind back into your subconscious mind. But there, they create that pressure and will be triggered again and again and again and again, and eventually exhaust and depress you. So then you know it's time to reevaluate your life's path, which your soul and your heart know. And they even hold, your soul actually holds the blueprint for your life's fulfillment. Because once you know that your happiness does not reside outside of you, you realize that your commitment must be to yourself first, especially in the second part of your life. Okay, so this is all that I have for you today. Please come back for the next episode when we speak more about commitment, and then the next step after that. Okay, I honor your time. I honor my time, and I'm so happy that you spent that time with me. Bye-bye for now, until I